G'day guys, and welcome to Creation of Christ Ministries. Today we're going to be talking about Noah and the flood, and particularly how did all the animals fit on the ark? It's a question debated about by many Christians and atheists alike, and the common perception seems to be that Noah took two of each kind into the ark, male and female, but that's not entirely true, as we see in the Bible that some of the animals actually went in by sevens and some went in by twos, according to whether they were considered clean or unclean. And we can pick this up here in Genesis 7, verse 2 to 3. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and his female, to keep them alive upon the face of all the earth. When this is referring to here, by sevens and by twos, it's actually referring to kinds, not types of species. So we can see that what was needed on the ark was not 7 different types of cats. There was basically just needed one type of cat, the male and his female. And when it talks about being clean or unclean, it's talking about what is clean for eating and what is considered not clean for eating. For example, a sheep would be considered clean for eating, whereas a dog would be considered not clean for eating. In Genesis 7, verse 14, we see this, and we can pick it up here. And it says, they, speaking of Noah and his family, and every beast of his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, and every bird of every sort. Now, every bird of every sort means every type of wing. We can go into the Hebrew, and the definition of it is literally that, every kind of wing. Whether feathered, as it is in most birds, or skinny or bristly, as in bats. So we can see that it wasn't just 2 of every kind that had to enter into the ark. In fact, in some cases it was 7, and probably 2/3 of the animals that went in, being birds and clean animals, would have gone in by 7s and not by 2s. Only the unclean animals went in by 2s. John Wood-Marapi, a creationist researcher, suggests that there are approximately 16,000 animals that were needed to fit into the ark. However, whilst there may have been that number in order to preserve every kind of creature that God had created, not that many needed to fit into the ark, as many of them were sea creatures and could be habitable by the flood in the sea. We see this as God said in Genesis 7 verse 14, everything that creepeth on the earth after his kind, every fowl after his kind, and every bird of every sort. But what it's talking about mainly there is everything that creeps upon the earth. Obviously fish don't creep upon the earth, so they're not needed to fit into the ark. This gives us insight into the scriptural understanding that it was only the land-dwelling animals that needed to be on the ark with Noah. It's worth noting that only the juvenile animals were required to be on the ark. The reason for this is because we needed to reproduce after the flood. All the animals would need to go and breed and be in the age bracket of where they could do that and do it successfully. The older animals that would be on the ark, if there were any, wouldn't be able to do that, and therefore weren't necessary to be on them. Another reason why the older animals weren't on the ark is because they would be much larger in size and take up more space. The space required on the ark could actually fit up to around about 70,000 animals on the ark. And as we see here, we only have about 1,500 to 7,000 that went on the ark, which is more than enough room, and also gives room for each of those animals being on the ark for approximately a year to grow and to breed and all those sort of things. There was an article written in the Telegraph by Sarah Knapton, and she says this, Noah's ark would have floated even with 2 of every kind of animal in the world packed inside, scientists have calculated. Although researchers are unsure if all the creatures could have squeezed into a huge boat, they are confident that it would have handled the weight of 70,000 creatures without sinking. That being said, with a biblical account and scientific proof, we can not only prove that Noah's Ark was able to fit all the animals inside the ark, but there was more than enough capacity and room to grow. I thank you for being with us today, and I hope this has answered some of your questions. You can go out and boldly say with confidence and some of this insight that Noah's Ark was more than capable of fitting every animal required on the ark. God bless you all.